What's up, everybody? Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome into this Thursday edition of the Pack a Day podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. By the end of this show, you're going to want to unfollow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. That's because I'm going to be giving out my Thanksgiving Day food grades. I know I always do grading the pack and give you my grades each week for the Packers. This week, I am going to be doing my Thanksgiving food takes, which you are not going to want to miss. I know I'm going to make you stick around just a second because before I get to that and before I really get all of your anger and angst and frustration based on my childish food takes, I do want to talk a little bit first about Preston Smith because I had tweeted out yesterday a tweet that some people disagreed with, a lot of people agreed with, and my tweet was 2020 Preston Smith is basically 2019 Jimmy Graham. I didn't say basically, I said he was, and I stand by that tweet. And I guess when it comes to Preston Smith up until this point in the season, I've been pretty cautious with what I've kind of said about Preston Smith. And the reason for that is he had a really nice season last year. And if you look at it closely, he really started great, probably went till about week 9 or 10, if I remember correctly, played really well. And then started to taper off, but even as he tapered off, he was playing average football. It wasn't bad in any way, shape, or form. It was still good. And as I mentioned, I think there was only 2 or 3 games all of last year where he graded in the negative. Just a really sound overall season. Played well against the run, dropped into coverage well. I know people will be, keep saying, well, it's because he's dropping into coverage more. He's dropping into coverage less this season. And even when he did it last season, he was pretty darn good at it. Was something that a lot of people, myself included, applauded him for because of his ability to do that. Hasn't been getting to the passer this year anywhere near as much, but last year he was a really sound overall player. This year, not so much. And when the season started, I said, well, let's wait and see. We saw a great Preston Smith a season ago. Could be a variety of different things. Could be injuries, ailments, whatever the case may be. Things continued. All of a sudden, 5 negative graded games, 6 negative graded games. And then he had a little bit of a bounce back. San Francisco 49er game, bounced back a little bit. And at that point, I said, be cautious. Justin School, backup tackle, was the person who he was schooling, no pun intended, maybe pun intended. But, it was against a backup offensive lineman. It's a good game. Don't hold it against him, but let's see what he does. Played a really nice game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really like how he performed in that game. Came up with some big plays. Thought he was maybe turning the corner. And then this week, unfortunately, arguably his worst game of the season and probably his worst game as a Green Bay Packer. I had a very low grade on him. Pro Football Focus, I know, had an abysmal grade on him this week. Some people are going to point to the play in coverage. I don't mind that play. Ultimately, he gave up a touchdown, but that's pretty good coverage if you're Preston Smith covering Trey Burton on the play. Didn't think it was egregious, but still gave up the touchdown in coverage. Did not set the edge and just kind of hold up at the point of attack in the run game very well. Had a handful of plays where he was one-on-one, didn't sniff the quarterback. Had a couple of pressure, quote-unquote pressures. Weren't legit pressures, but got near the quarterback at time to time. A couple nice plays here and there, but by far and away, a really, really bad game from Preston Smith. And this has now been the trend more often than not. And now we're, week 11 into the season. This is no longer, well, maybe things are coming along. Maybe he can bounce back. We are week 11, and we are not seeing anywhere near the same Preston Smith that we did a season ago. So when I tweet out, and remember, I tend to, whenever possible, to try to lean positive. The fact of the matter is, and as I've told you, I'm a fan first, and it's a lot more fun to me to talk about the really fun things and the great things that players are doing because that's just kind of the person that I am. However, I also feel that if I'm noticing a trend and calling out players, I need to call out players who are not performing the way that they're capable of. And I want to mention here, this is a really bizarre, weird year, right? So this 2020 has affected a ton of people in a lot of very strange and weird ways. And nobody's quite at 100% right now. And who knows what's going on with Preston Smith? Could be injury related, could be personal related. Kemba Walker in the playoffs, Brad Stevens is coach. Kemba Walker in the bubble did not play very well. And Brad Stevens said, listen, Kemba gets a ton of his energy from the fans out on the field. And with, in the bubble, he just wasn't the same. He was still good, but he wasn't the same Kemba Walker. And Brad Stevens, his coach, made mention of that. Maybe Preston Smith's a guy that needs the crowd, needs the energy. Although, to be fair, at Indianapolis, there was at least some fans in the stands. Whatever the case may be, it's fair to point out now that the Preston Smith we're getting in 2020 is not anywhere near the same Preston Smith that we got in 2019. And again, people want to say, well, he's dropping back in coverage. He had 5 snaps dropping back in coverage over the course of the last 2 games combined. 5 snaps. It is not an issue of him just dropping back into coverage, and he's doing it 15, 20 times. 5 times in the last 2 games. And again, this last week, he was still, in my opinion, his worst game as a Green Bay Packer. And the play that really swung things for me, especially this week, where now I'm like, all right, something's off. Something's legitimately not on the up and up here. There's a play where Preston Smith's the weak side linebacker. I don't remember who was on the strong side, but Colts run strong side, and the Packers defense does just a fantastic job. They reset the line of scrimmage. They stop the play in its tracks. And Preston Smith's job on this play as an unblocked player, he's not blocked on the play, is to do what's called closing the back door. So the strong side is what you would say, quote unquote, is the front door. The weak side, you want to come across, as you can kind of remember Clay Matthews did quite a bit, just screaming across, unblocked, trying to make that tackle, behind the line of scrimmage if the running back tried to cut back. This is just a pure, effort type of play because, again, he's not blocked on the play. So the weak side linebacker is going to come streaming down the line of scrimmage to make sure that there's no cutback lane for the running back. And what you see on this individual play is Preston Smith just kind of jogging it out, not really paying a ton of attention to the running back. Of course, the running back cuts back. What should have been a 3-4 yard loss ends up going for a gain on the play, and all because Preston Smith just didn't decide to kind of let the play out and kind of finish by doing his job. And those are the type of plays where it's one thing if, maybe you're not beating the lineman across, from you and making the big plays and getting sacks. But if you're putting the effort in and making sure that you're setting the edge in the run game, closing the back door on some of those, stretch zone plays, just doing the little things that can help your team win, I can get it. Everyone has down games, down years, things like that. Again, 2020 can affect people in different ways, but those are the type of plays that you need to make sure that you are making when you're having a little bit of a down year. And when I say that Preston Smith in 2020 is Jimmy Graham in 2019, if you look at them side by side, just the grades, Pro Football Focus actually had a better grade on Jimmy Graham in 2019 than they have on Preston Smith in 2020. That should tell you a lot right there. How about me? My grades. Again, I go through every player on every single play, grade them out. Jimmy Graham on a per play basis, because obviously they played different, amount of plays. Jimmy Graham, 18 games a season ago. Preston Smith, 10 games so far this season. Jimmy Graham, negative 0.008 points per play in 2019. Preston Smith in 2020, negative 0.008, the exact same points per play for both Jimmy Graham and Preston Smith. So if you're looking at a player who has been disappointing and want to compare him, I think it's absolutely fair to say what Jimmy Graham basically put on tape in 2019 is basically the effort, energy, and results that Preston Smith is doing in 2020. And I know, Packer Report's own Ross Uglum said, Preston's getting some pressures and he's got a couple sacks, I think 1.5 actually. And my comment back to Ross was, Jimmy Graham had a couple touchdowns, I think 2 or 3 touchdowns a season ago. If you play a ton of snaps, whether you're on offense or defense, you're going to, I don't want to say luck in, but you're going to get some good plays from time to time. That's going to happen. But on a per play basis, the effort, energy, and results that we're getting from Preston Smith in 2020, very reminiscent to what Jimmy Graham was providing on offense in 2019, at least in my opinion. And when it comes to this, when players have graded negatively, let's take a look at the last couple years. In 2018, I had these players grade at -5 or under. I believe there's 9 of them. Jimmy Graham, Jason Spriggs, Byron Bell, Justin McCray, Nick Perry, Reggie Gilbert, Clay Matthews, Kentrell Bryce, and HaHa Clinton Dix. 9 players in 2018 that graded -5.0 or below. All of them, except Jimmy Graham, were gone by the next season. All of them. These were my grades prior to that. It's not like I did these after the fact. These were my grades in season, and 8 of the 9 that I had graded -5.0 or less were gone the next season. How about last year? Let's go back to 2019. I had 6 players in 2019 with a -3.0 or worse grade. Let's take a look at those. Darnell Savage, Geronimo Allison, Jimmy Graham, Billy Turner, Alex Light, and Blake Martinez. 4 of the 6 gone. And let's investigate those other 2 really quick. Darnell Savage, obviously starting player, rookie player, ton of talent. They obviously weren't going to move on him, nor should they moved on him. He showed plenty of signs, talent, and promise. Just had made some rookie mistakes because he was a rookie at I think like 20 years old, starting every single game in the NFL. Of course, they weren't going to cut him. Billy Turner, Most of his negative grades came after he got injured in week 17. Week 17 and the 2 playoff games are his 3 games where he graded really, really bad. And had it not been for that, he wouldn't have been in that group. So, of course, you're not going to hold that against him. And even if they wanted to move on, Billy Turner had a contract where they could not move on from him. So, take those 2 away. Allison, Turner, Light, Martinez, the only 4 that they actually could have moved away from, they did. The previous year, 8 of the 9 that I had that they could have moved away from, they did. Jimmy Graham, technically, they could have too, and they didn't, and they should have. And obviously, he was gone 2 years later. So when I have players graded that low, more often than not, if they're not gone that year, they're usually gone the following year, again, with the exception probably going to be Darnell Savage for obvious reasons, because he has a very bright future ahead of him still. All right, so what are the 2 players that are graded negative 4.0 or below on either side of the ball so far this year? Dean Lowry and Preston Smith. Both have outs in their contracts. Both at this point, unless something changes drastically, it would be shocking if either of them are back for next season. All right, I want to get to my food grades. I know I don't have a ton of time here, but I pulled up a website. I haven't gone through this. I'm going to give you my straight up takes and grades. I believe there's like 30 food items. I'm going to go record speed here. Roast turkey. I'm going to give it a C-. It's fine. Turkey's bad. The best type of turkey, you get it in the lunch meat counter from the grocery store, either Cajun, maybe a blackened or peppered turkey. Those are perfect. That's the only type of turkey anyone should be eating. Green bean casserole, I like the little crispy onion thingies on top. Other than that, garbage. Green stuff, always bad, except asparagus for some reason. But I'm going to go D- on the green bean casserole. Candied yams, F. Get out of here. Perfect mashed potatoes. Listen, I love anything that allows you to get more butter on your plate except mashed potatoes. The only type of acceptable potatoes, French fries and potato chips. Next, perfect gravy. Love gravy, but I don't have anything to put it on because I don't like the turkey and I don't like the potatoes. So if I am forced to eat turkey, it's because I'm covering it in lots of gravy because my parents usually force me to eat the Thanksgiving food no matter what. So lots of turkey. Classic stuffing, you'll be happy to know I have grown as a human being, and I can now tolerate some forms of stuffing. So I'm going to give stuffing a C, C- because it's at least tolerable. Cranberry sauce, love cranberry sauce, only on Thanksgiving though. It's never good any other time, but it's literally like as a kid and now like the only thing that I actually like put on my plate that I actually might like other than maybe like bread or a dinner roll. So I'm going to give like a B to B- to cranberry sauce. Easy pumpkin pie, F, worst grade. Pumpkin pie is the absolute worst Thanksgiving food, bar none. All of it's bad, but pumpkin pie is the worst. Cranberry stuffing, I don't even know. Get it out of here. It's too much. Let's see. Cornbread dressing, whatever. Sausage gravy, we're getting ridiculous here. All right, sweet potato casserole with marshmallows. All right, marshmallows, great. I could eat the top off, just the little marshmallows all day long. Everything else, I don't need it. Let's see. Apple pie, B+. Love apple pie. No concerns with apple pie. That's good American eating. Holiday roasted vegetables. No chance. Vegetables, give me a freaking break. All right. Butternut squash soup. That's not even a real Thanksgiving food. Brown butter mashed potatoes. Same thing. No mashed potatoes here. Roasted Brussels sprouts. Hard pass. Brussels sprouts are disgusting. Let's see. Anything else? Pecan pie. It's fine, but give me the apple pie every day of the week. Garlicky green beans with crispy onions. Again, I like the crispy. Baked sweet potato. Nope. Already went over potatoes. Let's see. Butternut squash and andouille stuffing. You'll hate me even more. I don't like andouille sausage, so get it out of here. I don't like butternut squash. That's a D-, F grade right there for that. I think that's all I got. Any other Thanksgiving foods that you want to talk about too, they're all bad. Every single one of them. If I am forced to put something on my plate, a little bit of turkey, a lot of gravy, a little cranberry sauce, and some bread and some apple pie to finish things off. But I will be enjoying my traditional Thanksgiving pizza. I cannot wait. It is a Green Bay-owned Hanson's Pizza, mushrooms, onions, let's see, sausage and pepperoni. It is extra large. It'll be baked tomorrow, and that will be my Thanksgiving food. You can again unfollow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. Thanks for joining me for this special Thanksgiving edition of the Pack-A-Day podcast. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.